Breakfast good day, every day.
Nestle, good food, good life.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Breakfast good day, every day.
Every day.
Nestle, good food, good life.
This advertisement has been vetted.
It is the 11th day of August 2020. Good afternoon to you wherever you are and welcome to the midday news on Pan-African Television. We're streaming live in our studios at Abelenkpe Street of Accra. We're coming to you live from our studios, yes, from Abelenkpe Street of Accra. And we're live across 32 African countries via satellite. We're live on Facebook at Pan-African Television and of course YouTube at Pan-African Television. My name is Abban. Now let's take a quick look at our headlines. Now, coming up, MPP accuses Siedu Nketia of facilitating 66 Ivorians to acquire new voters' ID. Now, away from that, gender-based violence minister calls for mechanism to deal with the menace. Coming up, MPP to launch 2020 manifesto on August 2020. Non-business AIDB holds virtual meeting 25th to 27th August. Elections of presidents key on agenda. And on international movements journey, Communist de France demands accessibility to medically assisted program for all. Now these and many other stories coming up shortly. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Now the news in detail. Now residents of Dompem in the Takwa and Swim constituency of the Western region are accusing Member of Parliament for the area Honorable George Mreku Duka of military intimidations over decisions by the opponent Mr. John Justice Abban to construct a toilet facility for them. The residents who expressed unhappiness about the Member of Parliament's decision to prevent the construction of the 20-seater toilet facility says the decision was politically motivated.
Honorable Justice Abban, Onanipim, Abba Ahano, I don't want you there when you're Janambia. It's no, why an agenda? On Nisco, no Kotokumiska, on your Bianiska, or food there, or their crown, Sabisabu, why you're Janambia. Into the Nepe, they'll look all 20-seater WC. Empino, or preventing the Penny, and then Nankayaba cat sauce. Ebi Besibia Maya, Blekusa, Nampi, Takwas I am MP. Also, Manisi. na ku fa ba do aburo de be ka toilet ni nti o ma ni si
ba bi adompemfo ne a obi panimu oyi ne ho seti efi na oba besi no ehon ka ye 32 billion oba besi a che kuro no wo MP wo akwata so 4 years wo nya hwi wo kuro ma na wa wi a wo so wo mpene me ye city efi enam ayensam a wo de ho agi bunti wo mpene me ye city efi wo MP aye ayensam ana ye fa sai omumo sek no on hwe ni ye no omo no omu gu kuro no ne ya te anso ekuro no so anguda because omo ina omo ya hokwo na ku ya tetere wa makasim masak ni no MC no ofi kuku every omo ya hokwo no mpeso mbegu kuro na ya no efi kuro ma ya ho kire ye no nti me masam no
Now, away from that, flag bearer of the opposition National Democratic Congress, the NDC, John Dramani Mahama, has debunked claims that he will abolish the free senior high school program if he comes to power. Now, addressing the overlords of Dagon, Naya Abukari Mahama, and other chiefs in the Yendi during the tour of the northern and Savannah region last week. Now, the former president said he has never been against the policy and that the program has come to stay.
I wish to state emphatically that free senior high school education has come to stay. If anybody tells you that I, John Dramani Mahama, son of E.A. Mahama, will abolish free S.H.S when I come, tell the person he is a bloody liar. What I'm against is the poor implementation of the free S.H.S, which is creating great inconvenience for the parents, for the students, and for the teachers. And the point I've made is that we can implement it better. If this government had followed our plan of continuing with the 200 new senior secondary schools that we're building, we won't have the current situation that we have in our free S.H.S plan.
Now, away from that, the Ghana National Education Campaign Coalition, GNEC, has released a statement on misconduct by final high school students writing the 2020 West African Senior High School Certificate Examination. Now, we've been joined in conversation by Joseph HOMADZI, who happens to be the interim chair of the Ghana National Education Campaign Coalition, GNEC. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Hello, good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Hello.
Yes, good afternoon, sir. Welcome to Midday News on Pan-African TV.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Now, there's been a release from the Ghana National Education Campaign Coalition, GNEC. First of all, I want to find out, what is your position on the misconduct by some specific students and teachers, with respect to the West African Senior High School examination?
Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity. Good afternoon to you and to your viewers. Our position is that the behavior of the students is condemnable. Right. Otherwise, we condemn the behavior of the students.
Okay.
To the extent that we have to be here.
Hello, sir.
Some of them are left in front of the president, and that kind of behavior is condemned. We don't tolerate this kind of behavior from our students because we are training them to become responsible citizens tomorrow.
Right.
So our position is that we condemn the behavior, and we said it's not the best behavior to be tolerated.
Okay. Okay, so moving forward now, well, we know that some children were engaged in the act of misconduct in the examination, but yet we also had some teachers who also engaged themselves in that act. Is there any punishments also going to be meted out to the teachers who also engaged in some of these acts? Because clearly we saw some videos circulating on social media where some students and teachers were engaged in some fight and all that. Is there any sort of punishment going to be also meted out to the teachers who were engaged in some of these actions?
Yes, for the teachers, I'm aware that Education Service has interdicted them. So, and that they are also conducting the investigation into the case. So for the teachers, they have been interdicted. And they are conducting a kind of investigation. So once they have not completed, then they can be on the interdiction.
No,
the fact that the investigation reveals that they are fault, then they will be on the interdiction. If they are fault from the investigation, then we should be sanctioned.
But clearly,
because they are teachers.
Okay, but
if the investigation reveals that they are fault, then they must be sanctioned.
Okay, but Mr. Joseph, like you're saying, if there's an investigation conducted and the teachers are found, culpable of the action, they are going to also, the punishment are also going to be meted out to them. But clearly, we saw certain videos circulating on social media where clearly you could tell that the teachers were also in that same banter with the students, fighting with the students and all that. Whichever the reason may be, well, it can be looked at. But the moment the teacher gets into a fight with a student, that means there's a question mark to that. What do you say about it?
So if I got you the question right, you are saying that there are videos around saying that the teachers have misconducted themselves. So why are they conducting an investigation again? That is the question you're asking.
Okay.
No, I didn't get the question.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm asking.
Yes, so no, but the point is that it is true that the video circulating around, but still there is a need to conduct a kind of investigation into this conduct. So let's allow Ghana Education Service to do the investigation and establish otherwise of the conduct of the teachers.
Okay.
If the investigation reveals or establishes that they are guilty, then they must be sanctioned because there must be evidence. So all these video things they're talking about will be used as empirical evidence,
right,
as far as the investigation is concerned.
Right.
So let's allow Ghana Education Service to do the investigation. If the investigation establishes the fact that the teachers are involved and they are guilty, then now they can be sanctioned.
Okay, so finally, before I let you go, now in the statement, there's a section that says that we believe the sanctions meted out are adequate enough to deter other students from engaging in similar acts. Now, the president has engaged the Minister for Education, or the Ministry of Education, and the Ghana Education Service to reconsider their punishments being meted out to some of these students and all that. What is your position on that?
Yes, our position is that in the first place, we want to thank the President, His Excellency, the President, for quick intervention in this kind of sanction to mete out to the children. Right. Our position is that Ghana Education Service, the sanction is a bit high or a bit harsh for the students. These are children. So if you dismiss them and ban them from taking exams,
right,
what will be their future? Sanctions should not destroy their future, but sanctions should aim at reforming the students, helping to modify their behavior. So if you dismiss them and ask them to not to write the exams again, ban them from taking the exams, then the future will be destroyed. These children will grow in the society and become armed robbers tomorrow, will come back and take them up tomorrow. So it is proper that we sanction them, we agree. But the sanction must be measured, we shouldn't aim at destroying their future. So we agree with the president that they should be allowed to write the exam, but other sanctions can be applied to these students. On this note, I want to take this opportunity to appeal to school authorities and for that Ghana Education Service that they should strengthen the guidance and counseling services in the schools children in the schools must be strengthened. Okay? So psychosocial support must be given to these children. We also want to call upon parents also to come in. They have a role to play by way of molding the character of these children so they become responsible citizens. Not only parents, other stakeholders, assemblymen, teachers, pastors, etc., etc. Let's all come together as adults to help these helpless children, to help to mold them, to develop very positive character and attitude so they become responsible citizens tomorrow, to contribute their quota to national development. You know, if we don't do that, we will fail the children. And these children will become wayward tomorrow and become a burden to society.
All right, thank you very much, sir. So we have been in conversation with Joseph HOMADZI, who happens to be the interim chair for the Ghana National Education Campaign Coalition, JNEC. And that's exactly what he said about the statement being released about a misconduct of students in the ongoing West African examination certificate exams going. Yes, so let's move on to our next story, where the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, Cynthia Mamle Morrison, has charged traditional and religious leaders to lead the fight against accusation of witchcraft in the traditional setup. Cynthia Morrison made the call to the stakeholders meeting to address gender-based violence against women.
The forum was on the theme Protect Vulnerable Women, Their Lives Matter. It was attended by ministers, traditional leaders, religious leaders, civil society organizations, non-governmental organizations, development partners, among others. The forum raised concerns about the unfortunate lynching of a 90-year-old woman lynched to death on accusations of witchcraft and issued a communique to effectively deal with such situations in future to protect the welfare of women. The communique called for a nationwide education targeting gender on the effect of stereotypes, attitudes, and beliefs that condone violence and harmful constructions of masculinity.
Today is a sad day, but I'm happy that sadness, tears, misery, and everything is joy. I'm so glad that we have Nana here with us. I'm not going to do the introduction because it's been introduced over and over again. Nana, who owns the land, apart from the president, you are the custodians of your community. And I'm glad listening to you. And I'm happy to say that we know that we can collaborate with you to bring an end to this. And have no place to go back because the relatives refuse to accept them. The ministry, together with our development partners, headed by the president of the land himself, who condemned this act, says that no more witches come. No more. We say no more, but the chiefs, I know that you will be there because when all is done, we'll come back to Accra. But you live with them. And it's not only happening in the north, it's happening in the south, it's happening everywhere. Because in Ashanti region, you see a young man who told the mother because he thinks the mother is a witch. It happens in Greater Accra, it happens in the Eastern region. You are here to represent all the chiefs. Today is the maiden one. We have all come here to discuss it. The next is to come to you up there together with all the chiefs, because we didn't bring all of you. We brought a few of you. Our next meeting is with you up there, so we sit and know the roadmap and how to go. Know the owners of the witches camp. We have our shelters. We have the social services up.
Now, away from that, some residents of AWOSHIE Mangwase in the Anya Sotom constituency of the Greater Accra region are calling on government to construct an overpass on the AWOSHIE ABLEKUMA highway. Speaking on Pan-African News, the residents who demonstrated last week over damaged traffic lights on the same stretch of the road wants the construction of an overpass to avert avoidable deaths. So moving on, the governing New Patriotic Party has declared August 22nd as a date to launch its manifesto ahead of the December polls. The 2020 manifesto was drafted by a team of experts led by the Vice President Dr. Alhaji Mahmudu Baumia.
The New Patriotic Party hopes that the policies stated in the manifesto will make Ghanaians retain the Akufo-Addo-led administration in office for another 4 years. General Secretary of the party, John Boadu, told journalists that the party's steering committee will sit and finalize the manifesto before the official launch. He said the New Patriotic Party will continue to work hard to meet the needs of Ghanaians. According to him, the country in recent times demands strong and decisive leadership on the issues that have impacted the lives of its people. Mr. Boadu said it's in pursuit of his party's stated goals that they have not only strengthened the economy but have also managed to provide social and economic support in terms of cost-free water and electricity as well as business support schemes. John Boadu further noted that the Akufo-Addo administration remains focused and expects a massive turnout on December 7 to consolidate the leadership and good governance offered by His Excellency President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
Well, still on the NPP, the New Patriotic Party has accused the General Secretary of the Opposition National Democratic Congress, Johnson Asiedu Ketia, of helping non-Ghanaians to register to vote in the upcoming December elections. The General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party was speaking at a press conference held by the party in Accra.
Mr. John Boadu disclosed that Mr. Asiedu Ketia masterminded the registration of some 66 Ivorians at Banda, Cabrono in the Bono region. Asked if the party will lodge a formal complaint against the NDC General Secretary, Mr. Boadu said the New Patriotic Party has already done that, stressing that the governing party did not report the matter to the police because it involved the biggest opposition party, but because it was an illegality. The press conference offered the governing New Patriotic Party the opportunity to present its position on the just-ended mass voter registration exercise. According to the governing party, the exercise was highly successful and commended the Electoral Commission, political parties, civil society groups, security services, the media, and other stakeholders for their efforts. NPP believes the success of the exercise vindicates its position on the need for a new register.
We've also seen NDC facilitating non-Ghanaians to register and vote in our elections. As clearly established by VCRAC Crowd Committee and by the Supreme Court of Ghana during the election petition, one of the main reasons accounting for the bloated nature of the register is the names of non-Ghanaians, particularly our West African neighbors, on the register. This, we contend, is the handiwork of the NDC. Just as I said, I was in Bunkrubu constituency, and this is a border town with our friends in Togo. One thing that we must also recognize is that our educational system in Ghana is superb as compared to our neighbors. Our health system is also very good as compared to them. So as we were there, we saw our Togolese brothers and sisters closing from school from Ghana back to Togo. They accessed our healthcare system. As we were trying to prevent them from registering, the NDC people were encouraging them to come and register. I think that the media is awash with videos showing some foreigners being imported by NDC into the country to participate in our registration exercise. And I think slide 3 shows that. But before slide 3, we saw Asiedu Ketia in Banda constituency insisting that with a truckload, and just as they did to you, the media people, instead of them to even buzz them, they couldn't buzz them. They just got a cab truck and loaded them into it. And was insisting, this is it, and intimidating, and to some extent even insulting the police. This is what he did. by insisting that these people must be allowed to vote. Because they were coming in batches. Yes, insisting that people who are not qualified, who are not citizens, who may not be residents or ordinary residents in their polling station they want to register, should be allowed to register. Unfortunately for him, as they finish registering and they are going with their Kia track, one of the tires got burst. And the security agencies, particularly the immigration, was alerted. We realized that 66 Ivorians have managed to cross with the help of Asedu Ketia.
Still on our local front, the Electoral Commission of Ghana ends the two-day mop-up exercise as follow-up to the official 37-day voter registration to ensure a credible register for the upcoming general election come December 7th, 2020. Speaking to Pan-African Television, some residents of the Anya-Sotum constituency shared their opinions on the just-ended mop-up exercise and the entire voter registration process as well. There's more to the story.
The main voters registration exercise started on June 30th and officially ended on August 6th this year. In 33,367 polling stations, which were done in 6 phases, with each phase assigned days for eligibility applicants to register, the Electoral Commission later gave an additional 2 days after the main registration exercise to help registrants across the country who couldn't register to do so on Saturday, August 8th to Sunday, August 9, 2020. At the various district offices across the country, some residents in the Anyanso-Trum constituency shared their opinions on the just-ended mop-up exercise and the entire voters registration process as well.
Oh, also be via the Ijutiasiano, no be a prove say, Morocco Ibi. It's a line mono, Uda Pia about a year children, no Nayasun Kwan. Obia koye pepe obia ndi pepe o se bibia e bibia no I say esinto kakra wo ho wo nti abane sa na uti se obi aprobu wa ha obi enye yesi enye ko register ukwa din na ko register other party A or party B ehunya obi aye ko twere ye din de o ho ye boko but edu no bi na esento ka ketenkete bi ya babet omo ye bibia ma na ye fine and the nipa do so papa and the nipa do so kwa yetimi sole 3 o'clock 2 o'clock na line ndu ye so da obi mu da ho mimi se me mo bi ko da ho na oye den o se line ma me che se na bibia me wono kwan wom kakra ansa na me be ye den be twiro mi din oh na machine de ye dwambete wo slow kakra but ye nyina yetimi twiro ye din o wa sunju okay na entoka nde ansi ha election de be had the be boko you say be boko say I had and talk they didn't see high.
Now away from that, an intellectual embodiment under the youth wing of the opposition National Democratic Congress Tertiary Education Institution Network 10 is calling on organizations with capacity to organize a debate between leaders of the 2 major political parties. According to them, this has become necessary due to the limitation COVID-19 places on reaching out to people with campaign messages and plans. Now we'll be speaking to David WULLAH DARI, who happens to be the National Team Coordinator. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, good afternoon, sir. Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Yes, welcome to Media News on Pan-African Television.
Hello.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you now.
All right, so first of all, what are you calling for? In other words, what exactly are the issues?
Okay, my brother, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Right.
I think you realize that there's a trend, there's a worrying trend, especially among young intellectuals and youth in Ghana.
Right.
And that trend is that most young people and intellectuals, unfortunately, are resorting to violence as means of airing their views and making sure their concerns are heard.
True.
It is essentially because we have not made deliberate attempt to chart a different path and to influence these people and intellectuals on the way we ought to go. So on this backdrop, national team thinks that the way to go is for us to occasion or invoke an intellectual conversation, a debate, especially among presidential candidates or their running mates, so that we shift the focus from youth and young people resorting to violence to achieve their mission.
Okay.
And for them to realize that the only way we can move forward as a country is for our leaders to table before the sacred table of leadership their message and the content of that message and how feasible those messages are going to be, so that we can make a choice that is based on sound reason.
Right.
In order that we are not able to choose leaders and tend to regret.
Mm.
And so we think that the only way we can create that platform is to create the indulgence of civil societies and platforms like yours, Pan-African TV, so that we can occasion such a conversation that will bring positivity and help move our country forward.
So like you clearly made mention, this call is to some civil society organizations and media outlets. Which other organizations are you also making this call to?
Yes, the media, we are looking at the media, the civil society organizations, we are looking at the National Youth Authority, we are also looking at the National Debate, Society. And of course, other platforms that we can occasion for this conversation, generate this conversation in effect. You see, the idea is that once we put this on the national television,
okay,
and we occasion this conversation, we are able to shift the focus. And it's now that we can do that. Young people in this country must get to understand that it is only when we listen to the message of our leaders and how feasible those messages are, then we are able to make a sound choice or choose between the messages our leaders give. Look, until we get to a point where young people are voting based on issues, and not because my grandfather was NDC and so because I'm voting NDC,
right? And
not because my father was NDC and so I'm voting NDC, or because largely my father vote for them. Until we shift away from that narrative to voting based on issues and the content and the message our leaders give us, we have a long way to go. I think that is essentially why we are craving the indulgence of these societies and your platform, of course, so that we can generate this conversation on our national televisions, on our social media platforms, and make a deliberate attempt to shift the focus in the thinking and reasoning of our young people in this country.
All right, thank you very much, sir. I think it's clear now. We wanted to understand what this call was about, and it's clear now. I think our viewers have gone to understand what exactly TIN is actually or wants to do or wants us to do. So it's clear now. So we have been speaking to David WULLAH, DARI, who happens to be the National TIN Coordinator for the NDC. We'll go for a quick break. We'll return shortly with some more news. Stay with us.
It's incredible! Bang on target!
Let's move straight to Congo. Some school children and students returned to school on Monday in the Democratic Republic of Congo after the end of COVID-19 related state of emergency. The decision to end the emergency period was announced on July 21st, and the partial resumption of classes was then scheduled for Monday, August 10th, in an attempt to complete the 2019-2020 academic year.
This involves only children in the last years of primary and secondary schools, as well as students in the 5th year at the university. Schools, including universities, were closed on March 24, 2020. In the DRC, a decision taken by President Felix Tshisekedi. As the partial reopening took place, President Tshisekedi visited Atheni de la Gombe, a school in the north of the capital, Kinshasa. He warned that the virus had not disappeared and urged students to continue to respect the health protocols that have been put in place. Since the start of the epidemic in March 9, 489 cases have been recorded in DRC, including 224 deaths, according to official figures released on Monday.
So that's all we have for you on our local front. Up next is business. I thought you said that was... Look, read the last one before.
Hello?
Oh, Sisiana sound.
Okay, wait a minute. Why? My wife comes and send a message. You hello? What's happened?
It's a child who will be a quiet say what?
Besides, one affair, I'm so near you. My wife not testing messages here. And our office so I'm trying to tell you, man. She says, I
mean, so we a guy man and may young who could look cry. And also wants a family drilling company limited for Kana.
What's it then? Family Drilling Company Limited.
Ye two borehole, biofuel, biogas, swimming pool, plumbing works in Naso, ye be Frey 0240-333-111 and NASA 0244-144-822.
Miampa and you want swimming pool me see? Me want to be here. Family Drilling Family Drilling.
What fashion yala shit?
Me out
na jawti kai mu da do bi kurasi wa se wanti mensi
make me sis me sre why na me yikwa na teche wo o jari malaria din ya chisa
eja kan akoma 2 years so onom dan proke heba mister osi simbadi u say from oyire nso doctor ka chene say o malaria mo ani bi oni pedue mu a so onom dank antima x yare malaria ebe kokora obi wo hono ma ne yem ye ne yanso a so onom dank gastro care herbal mixture omo beton dank phyto care herbal mixture koko ebe ye hu adwuma ma wapono waposo tutu dank extra care herbal mixture obenya hoden ne watimi anante make food dank no nyina e di amamo
na ebenya dwe nya bi we
pharmacy shop and herbal shop also per dank nura ye be ma obi
pa chomo number ye sen
0266593330
enroi oba pemfo oba o ma akora nufo ene akora woni mfie du mienu ntime no FDA ahwehwe sa edwedie kratwe mu agya tum se eye.
Welcome back from that quick commercial break. This is still Media News on Pan-African Television. My name is Abban. Now let's do some business story. Now, government has begun the construction of a harbour at Mpakadam in the ASUOGYAMAN constituency of the Eastern region. A former top official of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority has disclosed.
The move is to create employment for the people in the constituency and the region, especially the youth. Paul Asaransa said the project was his brainchild. He explained that the harbour was the reason why the government is also constructing the Tema to Mpakadan railway line, which is expected to be completed this month. The construction of the railway track was conceived as a port-to-port project in 2007 under the Kufuor era. As a result, in 2007, a contract was signed for a feasibility study to be conducted for a Tema to Buapi multimodal transport system via Akosombo. In furtherance of this, in November 2016, an agreement was approved by the Parliament for a Tema to Akosombo railway line. On assumption of office by the Akufo-Addo government in January 2017, the agreement approved by Parliament was reviewed for a number of reasons, included a possible effect on the Akosombo Dam, since the project involves drilling a tunnel through rock to the Akosombo port. The tunnel, the Minister of Railways Development had said, was only going to be 60 meters away from the Akosombo Dam at one point, according to Mr. Asariansa, who is also the New Patriotic Party NPP parliamentary candidate for ASUOGYAMAN constituency. The project in ASUOGYAMAN at Mpakadan will also boost employment and cut down on the rate of unemployment in the ASUOGYAMAN municipality.
Not some more business. Africa Development Bank Group is set to hold the 2020 annual meeting virtually from 25th to 27th of August 2020. This will comprise statutory meetings of a board of governance. According to the bank, a major agenda item of this year's annual meeting will be the election of president.
The Board of Directors of the African Development Fund, ADF, last month approved a $69 million grant to support Ghana's effort to tackle the COVID-19 pandemic and mitigate its socio-economic impact on the nation. The grant from the ADF, the concessional arm of the African Development Bank, will provide physical budget support to finance the government's national COVID-19 emergency preparedness and response plan and coronavirus alleviation program. Specifically, the funds will help to upgrade the capacity of the healthcare facilities to isolate, diagnose and care for the patients and provide more test kits, pharmaceutical equipment and beds. It will also ensure adequate personal protective equipment (PPE) for health workers and support financial incentives and an insurance package for health and allied professionals. Ghana ranks 4th in COVID-19 infections in Africa after South Africa, Egypt and Nigeria. As of 9th August 2020, the West African nation had recorded 41,003 cases of the disease, with 38,330 recoveries and 215 deaths. Overall, the objective is to help contain the spread of the virus, expand testing and ease the impact of the virus on social and economic life through measures aimed at protecting jobs, sustaining livelihoods and supporting small businesses, said Marie-Laurine Akin Olabade, the bank's Director General for West Africa. The ADF grant is a crisis response budget support operation disbursable in a single tranche under the bank's $10 billion COVID-19 response facility. Under Ghana's COVID-19 response program, all affected persons will receive free treatment and free water supply. Micro, small and medium enterprises will benefit from a soft loan scheme with 1 year moratorium and 2 years repayment period. The private sector will also benefit from a tax freeze and refund, direct subsidies and a guarantee fund, enabling businesses to access bank credits.
So that's all we have for you on our business front. Up next is international.
The Board of Directors of the African Development
international fronts, the movement Joannie Communiste de France has demanded accessibility to medical-assisted procreation for all sections in need, including married women, lesbian couples, and transgender community. MJCF has welcomed the French National Assembly's second round approval for the bioethnic bill on August 1st, which includes provision for extension of MAP services to single women and lesbian couples.
Earlier, the MAP facilities were allowed only for the heterosexual couples, but even now, the National Assembly didn't approve the demand for the extension of MAP services to members from the transgender community. According to reports, the bill was approved in its second reading with the backing of 60 MPs from the French President Emmanuel Macron's La République in March, the Democratic Movement, La France, and the La France Communist Party. The bill was opposed by 37 MPs, mainly from the Republicans and the UDI. Following the vote, MJCF has stated that for nearly a decade, and against the backdrop of successive unfulfilled promises, thousands of women have been waiting to be able to achieve their parental project. Finally, female couples and single women have the right to have recourse to medically assisted procreation under the same conditions as for heterosexual couples. The assisted reproduction will, in fact, be fully reimbursed by Social Security. However, equal access to assisted reproduction is still not complete. Its access to transgender people was rejected by the Assembly. The movement of the Young Communists of France, mobilized so that the MAP is open to all, will continue to pursue its fight for equality, added MJCF. The Bioethics Bill, approved in its first reading at the National Assembly in October 2019 and passed in the Senate in January 2020, has already ignited much debates and ideological conflicts in the French society. The liberal, left, feminist sections have been calling for the immediate passing of the bill, while the far-right, conservative groups, including a section of the Catholic Church, has been pessimistic on the bill and called out that the French government is showing an unnecessary urgency to approve the bill in the National Assembly. The opponents of the bill, including La Manif pour Tout, the Strike for All, whose members are seeking to protect traditional conception, has organized protest demonstrations earlier in France.
Credit to the People's Dispatch for our international stories. Eve Edwards is on standby with sports.
Hello there, my name is Eve Edwards. Now let's do some sports here on Pan-African News. Now, Aduana Stars Yaya Mohammed has confirmed he will be leaving the Doma-based club after writing on his WhatsApp status that he will miss the town. Now, the striker also hinted that his next possible destination will be Ashanti Gold.